What's up, everyone? It's not just me. He's coming.
Good morning, everybody. What's up, family? It is Marriage Monday on a Tuesday. Come on in, everyone. Okay. We're so glad you guys are here. Let me make sure we can hear. Good morning, everybody. There we go. Beautiful. You can hear us. What's up, y'all? Come on in. Share it. Love it. Say what's up. Leave a comment. Let us know you're here. Where are you watching from?
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, everybody.
Let's set this up here.
Huh?
There we go.
Bam. Look at that.
Is that,
Huh?
is that okay?
Sure. Or you can do the thing.
It doesn't work that good. I mean, it does, but there we go.
Bam.
Okay.
Tyler. My dude Tyler's on. What's up, man? Haven't heard from you, seen you in forever. Mr. Married Dude. I hope you are great. Love that guy. Like a little brother to me. Love him, love him, love him.
Awesome.
Hey guys,
So
we're going to talk about some good stuff today, but come on in.
Yeah.
Where are you watching from?
Hey, guess what? We have new mugs.
Oh my goodness. Look at this.
Look how cute. They
Mis-
match.
Mr. and Mrs. They say I do on the bottom of them, which is awesome.
This was a gift from Christy Alcorn. Very sweet.
Yeah, thank you, Christy. We loved it. Opened up our bag. Gabino, what's up, brother? Carrie, hello, hello. Adrian, AJ, what's up? Tyler, Angel, hello, hello.
Oh, that's
Who else is on? You can't. If you, yeah, there we go. Tyler. Too long. I know, man. Hit me up. Call me. Come visit. Come to Pittsburgh for a little bit. We'll go eat. It's gonna be awesome. Hey guys, we're gonna talk about some good stuff today because it's stuff that needs to be talked about. So, why are you putting it over there?
I just feel like it's better over there.
All right.
Okay.
You just want more space.
There you go.
She just wants more space. She just put her iPad over here. So yeah, let's see. Well, welcome everybody. Too long. Spike, what's up, Spikers? I appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you always encouraging my wife. You guys may not know this, but Sunday morning, I went into a coma and actually did not wake up for church in time, which was so embarrassing, to say the least. But it was also really, really beautiful because my wife ended up stepping up, which is an awesome just Marriage Monday on a Tuesday topic about stepping up and stepping in for each other when you need to, of which I've done for her when it comes to worship ministry, life groups, just do whatever I can to help her. And then beautifully she stepped in. So there was so much good that happened. So embarrassing, but so much good that happened. And it wasn't just I slept in. I had not been feeling well for a couple weeks and just been really not sleeping and dealing with insomnia. And so I was just beat. But anyway, that's the funny part, and also not funny at all.
No.
But Niki stepped in and just started sharing her testimony. And you may not know this, but for the last 5 years, as we've had a church, I've been telling everybody, the gospel doesn't stop at me. It doesn't stop at her. It keeps going. And so if anything ever happens to one of us, we don't show up. Just step in, preach the gospel, get people saved, and then we'll worry about what's going on later. Anyway, beautifully, people came over and made sure that I was up. We had brother. I loved it. It was such a beautiful picture and imagery of a brother. The Bible says watching out for each other and watching each other's backs, and so it was really cool. It was beautiful, like covenant relationships stepping in, taking care of me. Covenant relationships taking care of her. People were in the sanctuary backing her up, and she went for it, man. She preached, shared her testimony. It was strong, it was beautiful, and she spoke with confidence. I ended up getting there about 15 minutes into her speaking.
It was terrifying, but also really awesome.
Well, it just showed the strength of our church to see what happens when something doesn't go the way we thought. It showed the strength of her having. And listen, you need to have the gospel stored up in you, because there's going to be a time where you're going to be that person that God wants to use in that moment. So,
Always be ready.
Yeah. Pretty funny.
Yep. Can everyone hear us okay?
Yeah, they can hear.
They can,
Yeah.
okay. All right, well, we're going to get started. So, if it's your first time joining us, we are Nick and Nikki.
CHYBRZYNSKI.
And we go live every Tuesday.
Yep.
Just to talk about marriage.
Yep.
Just because we love marriage.
Yep.
And we believe in marriage.
We love you.
And we love you.
You're fighting for your marriage. You're fighting to make it work.
Yeah.
You're fighting for your singleness right now. Maybe you're engaged. Maybe you're separated. Maybe you're divorced. Either way, when people get married, their goal when they get married is to win.
Yeah.
And sadly,
yeah, nobody gets married hoping they get divorced.
Mm-mm.
They don't, I mean, some people might get married in their head thinking if this doesn't work, I'll get divorced. But people don't get married hoping that they'll get divorced.
Not at all. Was it last week that we were at Cracker Barrel?
Yes.
Yeah. So
no, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago we were at Cracker Barrel, and we were doing our marriage Monday, and the woman who served us, and she jumped on, which was so cool. She said she wants to rededicate her vows, and we're hoping she calls us. But she goes, would you consider doing that? She goes, I love what you guys are doing, and I love it because her tip to all of us was remember the proposal, remember the wedding day,
remember why you said I do.
Remember why you said I do, which is, if I tried to show you, I would end up spilling my drink all over me. But on the bottom of this cup it says I do. So, hey Jess, hey Mike, what's up? Come on in, guys. Hey, do us a favor, share this video real quick. Hit the share button.
Hey,
right
Tybra.
What's up, Bo? Bo's online. What's up, Bo? So share this video. Everybody, hashtag real quick, Merry Christmas. Hashtag Merry Christmas.
Another thing that we really believe in is always having a date night. We feel like it's really, really important that once a week, you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. You don't have to go extravagant, but you do need to connect with your spouse. Really, we feel every day, at least for a few minutes, like even on the busiest days, you still need to connect. But every week, just setting aside a dedicated time that you can talk to one another, you can catch up, check in on each other, see how things are going. Are they okay? Are you okay? And then also just have time to build your relationship, have fun, go do something adventurous if you're able to. And if not, stay at home, watch a movie or play a game, something. Even if it's like you have children and you put them to bed and you have 30 minutes. 30 minutes date night, that's great. It's better than no date night at all.
Yeah, what's that saying? Where there's no fuel, the fire goes out.
Yeah.
And that's good for arguments. Stop arguing. Don't try to get the last word. Walk away. Get the fuel out of there. The fire will die. But it's also true with passion, with romance. If you stop throwing wood on the fire, you stop fanning that flame, the fire's going to die out. And then you're going to say things like, we fell out of love, which is not real.
So
you
keep the maintenance.
You can't fall into love, and you can't fall out of love. Love is a choice.
Yeah.
Love is a decision. Maybe that'll be our next Marriage Monday on a Tuesday shirt. Love is a choice. And so I'm choosing to love Nikki. She's choosing to love me. And so that's why we date. We want to keep the romance alive. So our date night is Monday. It's just, we've been married for almost 10 years, and that's just always worked for us. We don't have children, but we do have crazy lives, and we still make it work. We still make somehow we try to have like that date night every Monday. So that's why this is called Marriage Monday on a Tuesday. Because we don't do things on Mondays, but we want to talk about Marriage Monday on a Tuesday. So if you guys are with us,
watching.
If you're here, love is the choice, man. If you're here, write in the comments, hashtag MMOAT, Marriage Monday on a Tuesday, MMOAT. Let us know you're here. And remember, when you're on your date nights, take a picture together. Hashtag it. Make sure you tag us. We want to see it. We want to see you guys dating. We want to see you loving on each other. So go out to dinner, go to a movie, whatever you're going to do. Go rent a cabin somewhere. Go get a hotel somewhere. Go hang out in the pool and chill out. But take a picture. Hashtag us, MMOAT, so we can see it. So you guys can see it. People can watch together. And we can all celebrate godly marriage. Like that to me that's magnificent. Is if we can bring everything back to godliness, give glory to God. When you see Marriage Monday on a Tuesday, you should be going, man, godly marriage. When you see other people dating, godly marriage. When you see a marriage Monday on a Tuesday shirt, godly marriage. That's what I want to see. That's what I think God wants to see.
Hey,
and
Brenda.
so that makes it worth it. So it's good to see you guys.
So today we're going to be talking about a topic. My shirt could probably help you get it. Money.
You're so weird.
Green.
Is that why you wore green?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to wear
I thought
this.
you were going to talk about envy. Green with envy?
No.
Money.
So we're talking about money problems, money in marriage.
I make money moves.
We're going to talk about it. People have asked this question before.
Money.
And we're going to just share a couple of points and things that you should be doing or thinking about in your marriage when it comes to finances. So
Money, dude, it's one of the number one reasons for fighting and divorce.
number one, over affairs.
Yep.
Wait, I thought maybe
Death of a child, affairs, and money
Yeah.
are the top three
top 3.
reasons people get divorced. And money is typically the one thing that continually carries through because it's a constant thing. Like, why do you go to work?
You need to make money.
So, you know, what do you have to? How do you keep the lights on?
Money.
How do you keep the house warm?
Money.
Our house is not warm today.
I know.
Hey Google, set the Nest to 7. Don't talk to Google. That's funny.
Are we still frozen?
No, we're back. Sorry,
Were we
guys.
frozen this whole time?
Sorry.
Could y'all hear us?
No, they couldn't. All right, we're back.
That's a bummer.
Sorry, guys. Man. All right, we talked to Google. We're so sorry. We talked to Google and it froze my phone. I apologize.
We're back.
We were telling.
And if you didn't hear, we're talking about money in marriage, financial problems, and what to do.
Yeah. So what we were saying was that you know, financial issues become the biggest number one problem. Niki and I last week we talked about personally how people you have one spouse who goes, man, I love you so much, I'm going to go work more to make money. And then you have the other spouse, maybe at home, or they're working 40 hours a week, and they go, man, I never see you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, no, I do love you. I do love our kids. I'm working so that I can pay the bills. But let me ask you, if you had a budget in place, if we made financial wisdom decisions, we would be working less and being able to be present with God's goal for you is to be with your family. God's goal for you is not to make money. There's money in the plan. You have to make money. But God's goal for you was to do things His way, not to do things our way. And so budgets and structures help us not have to overwhelm ourselves with money problems and money thoughts because we're caring for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're putting structures in place. So what were you thinking, Ben?
Okay, so we're just going to give a few different points and things. You can write these down. You can put them in your heart. Talk to your spouse about them. But they're going to help you. They've helped us, and they're going to help you.
Yeah.
So the first thing we want to talk about is tithing as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let you kind of talk about tithing. Why do we tithe? Why is it important to tithe? And what's the difference, tithing and offering? Tell us, babe.
Yeah. So tithing is a simple thing. First of all, tithing is a principle for under the covenant of a walking with God. So a lot of people would say it's Old Testament, and a lot of people would say it's you're not supposed to do it anymore because we live under the grace and under the New Testament. There's a couple fallacies with this issue. Number one, if you're not a Christian, you're not a churchgoer, you're not a believer in God, I still 100% believe that you should take a tenth, a tithe, and you should yield your heart towards God and His principles and go, you know what, I'm going to give 10%. Generosity, and the tithe in general the tithe isn't generosity. The tithe is faith.
It is.
The tithe is relationship. The tithe is trusting God.
Mm-hmm. And a tithe is 10%.
Tithe is 10. That's actually what it means.
A 10% of your income is tithe.
So you have to decide, whose voice do I want over my home? And sadly, the voice of money is the voice over many homes.
Yeah.
And the 10th, when you tithe, I believe you're cutting the head off of money, and you're saying you're not the head of our home, you're not the voice over our home. God is.
Yeah.
And so you tithe.
I'm trusting God with our finances.
Yeah, because the moment you start looking at that 10%, and look, the 10% grows as you grow. So for me, when I was in high school, the 10th was like $5, you know? And then when I was out of high school, the 10th was like $10, or then it got to be $50, and it got to be, you know, then I was working at one real nice job when I was a single guy in Arizona, and God instructed me with my tithe and my offering, and I was giving, you know, above $10,000-$15,000 a year in my tithes and offerings. But tithe gives God confidence that you trust Him. It cuts the head off of money, and it says, no, money's not going to dictate the moves over our home. So tithe shows God that you trust Him. And you don't tithe as a couple, you tithe as an individual, first of all, in your own heart. And then you agree on it that, hey, we trust God. So who do you trust? You should write that down in the comments. You should write it down in your notes. Who do you trust over your home? Do you trust money over your home? That would suck. To trust money. Money's changing.
Yeah, and you never know when you can lose it.
Exchange rates changing.
Anything could happen.
Stock market changing. Your job is changing.
Nothing. It's constant. And you know, I've been reading a lot just about God being the rock. Like, He's literally the rock of our life. That means He doesn't move. He doesn't change. He's so stable. And that's the rock that we want to live on. We don't want to live on the rock of money. We want to live on God, on Him, on His principles.
So what about the people who say it's Old Testament? Well, first of all, we have to remember that the principle of the tithe never had anything to do with salvation. It had everything to do with worship and honor. The tithe was always about honor. It was never about salvation. The New Testament, when it brings in Christ, Jesus said, I didn't come to wipe the laws out. I came to be the one who fulfilled the laws. We don't just say we're saved so we don't care about honoring God, not murdering, not lying, not cheating, not sleeping with our neighbor's wife, not being coveting, not being greedy, not being all these, the 10 commandments, and then the other, hundreds of commandments throughout the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So for people who say, oh, it's an Old Testament principle, it's not true. And we see many reasons why it's not. Jesus said, continue to tithe, but even on top of that, do all these other things that are godliness. So yeah, you worship God with your money, but now have godliness in your lifestyle. Also on top of that, for anybody who says the Old Testament is abolished and we don't have to follow it, then you can't quote Psalms, you can't quote Proverbs, you can't quote the Jeremiah, I have a plan for you, plans to prosper. You cannot, for anybody who says it's Old Testament, then you literally, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, you're like picking and choosing.
Which proves something, that money has your heart. If you can't tithe or you argue the tithe, the reality is money has your heart. And if money has your heart, it's going to have your marriage. And if money has your marriage is doomed. So the tithe is 10%. Offering is anything above and beyond the tithe. For me, for my wife, we tithe and we said, you know what, God, we're going to give X amount. And sometimes God will tell us more. There's times during the week that I'll give more when we're hurting sometimes. An offering is gratitude. So tithe is trust. Tithe is honor. God asked for it. God said, hey, if you trust me with money, then I'll bless your money.
Yeah.
Malachi says it. You trust me with money, I'll bless you with money. And bless you and take care of your things. You don't trust me with money, all you're doing is robbing me and telling me you don't trust me. Offering is worship. Offering is gratitude. So Nikki says, do the dishes. That's my tithe. I start doing the dishes, I realize I'm going to clean the whole kitchen. That's my offering. Yeah, why? Because I'm sitting there doing the dishes going, you know what? I love her. I'm so grateful for her. She's so faithful. She's so da-da-da-da. And then I go, you know, I'm just going to clean the whole house. And sometimes when that happens, next thing you know, everything starts getting clean. Flowers show up. Because my offering makes me realize how much I love you and appreciate you.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be the first thing is tithing. And pray about that. Think about that. If you're hesitant on it, then talk to God about it. Like, bring that to Him. And then the Bible even says to test Him in this.
Yeah.
So give it a try. Try tithing and see how it works for you guys.
So you may be watching this going, dude, we're in way too much debt to tithe. You're never in too much debt to tithe. If you're trying to give everybody their money, why don't you give God your money? Why don't you trust God and say, God, I can't do this on my own. I'm giving this back to you because I need you to do this. And that's huge. And so now that the principle of tithing comes into place, the next thing that we do, we tithe, we offer, and the next thing that we do is we tithe to ourselves. So we take the tithe that we give, and we also have the tithe that we keep. Yeah. So we give our tithe and offering, and then we have an account where we put it's called our big savings. So we have this goal. We have a savings account.
We have several savings.
We do, and we'll tell you why. We have a savings that we have for, like we just did our whole house to fix things. We needed a new roof. We needed ceilings done. We needed new doors. We had holes in our garage doors. We had leaks. We had our boiler went bad. If we didn't have savings, we'd be in trouble. Yeah. Behind that, we have our emergency fund. And our emergency fund is, we don't touch that for anything lest it be an emergency. Yeah. Right?
Right.
But we tithe to ourselves.
So we take 10% of our income.
We take 10% of our income and we put it in a savings account.
In our savings account. And then
that
is like the second
we try to
thing.
do a little more both. We try to do a little more. We try to do 15 to 20% tithe and offering, and 15 to 20%. And now what we're doing is we're thinking we're not going to live off of 100% of our income. We're going to live off of 60%, 70% of our income. Yeah. Well, we guys don't have kids. That's easy. No, we don't have kids, and we plan. You have kids. You have a family. You have to plan for the structures. You have to plan for the systems. You have to plan for the consequences. You have to plan.
Yeah, the principles are the same.
You have to plan for the family.
Your life is going to look different than ours. And everybody's will, because there's a lot of different factors in that. But that's got to be a goal. That has to be things that we're reaching for. You need a savings.
You need a savings.
You and your spouse need a savings.
Yeah.
So that would be like the second thing is, tithing, and then also having a savings account. If you don't have one right now, then you guys go get one and put, even if it's like $1 a day or something, like start somewhere.
Well, we'll share it on here. We talk about money often because it does come up in y'all's questions. In different angles we talk about it, but there's an app called Acorns. I'll share the link. Acorns is awesome. Not only is it awesome, but it takes money from your purchase. Like say Nikki goes and buys this cup and it's $10.05. Acorns will round it up to $11, put 95 cents in your account. You don't need to think about it. It's like a spare change jar without having to see the change. Now, what's awesome about Acorns is every once in a while it'll say, hey, invite 5 friends, we'll give you $200. So you find people that you want to help learn how to save, you get them to sign up, you'll make a little money, they'll make a little money, and everybody's learning to save some money. So that's an easy one. Yeah. Go to your local bank, add on a savings account.
Just get a savings.
Yeah.
Start somewhere.
Yep.
Hey Danielle, we didn't say hey to you.
Hi Danielle.
But you said hey to us, so hello.
Hey guys, do us a favor, hit the share button real quick. Make sure other people are joining in with you. We want to just keep sharing what God's doing in our marriage and your marriage. Everybody share it, and remember, if everybody could type in here hashtag MMOAT, lets us know you're watching.
Yep. Okay, so.
Oh, there's Amy. Hi Amy.
Hey.
That's our.
So we're talking about.
Our cousin.
She is. We're talking about money and marriage.
Yep.
So we talked about tithing and then having a savings. The third thing we're going to talk about is being honest about where you are.
Yeah.
Being realistic and not trying to live a lifestyle that doesn't necessarily, it's not realistic for you financially. I think, you could even say trying to keep up with the Jones. Is that who they are?
Yep.
The Jones?
Surprised you didn't say the Joshes.
I almost said the Jacksons.
The Jacksons.
But it's not the Jacksons.
Yeah. I'll share our Acorn link on this video in a little bit, guys. After we're done, I'll post it, and you guys can click it and add it. And if there's any perks, whatever, I'll get them, which is awesome. But you'll get them whenever you start asking other people to sign up.
So be honest about where you are. I know it may feel really hard, and you may feel ashamed even, because I know that's something that's easy to do, but you have to be honest about where you are, and you can't just try to keep covering it up. Yeah. And acting like it's not there or that it doesn't exist. It exists. And the sooner you can acknowledge it, the sooner that you can start resolving and taking steps forward to better financial wisdom. Yeah. The
Bible says to be a wise person, and a wise person walks around something and looks at the whole picture. This begins in your singleness. Pastor Brandon Crescen's on. He's one of our associate pastors at our church, been mentoring him for years, love him to death. and he started dating a girl in our church who is such a gem. We love her. But when when they were dating, I said, bro, don't do what most single people do. They go into debt to try to win the woman. I'm going to buy you things I can't afford. I'm going to take you places I can't afford. We're going to go eat places I can't afford.
Don't be unrealistic.
Yeah, so this starts in singleness. You create this image, and it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
And so, so he had to create budgets and stuff like that. Give me a second.
Actually, let you do that. I'll be right back.
Okay. Our dogs are going insane in the back. Animals, listen, that's a big part. Have you ever seen, and don't get mad at me, don't say I have no good heart. Have you ever seen a homeless person with a dog? And they're begging for money so you can feed them, but they have a dog to feed. And it's like the mindset of that is, dude, you have to get on your feet. You have to get yourself established. Animals are another expense. So it just shows in a lot of times like that these things create burdens, financial burdens. We have to evaluate, if I'm hurting financially, what do I need to get rid of? What do I need to do? I have to be honest. I have to be honest when I'm dating. I have to be honest when we're engaged. I have to be honest when we're married. Niki and I, when we got engaged, we started talking about money real serious because neither one of us made a lot of it. We really still don't. When she quit P&C to work full time for the church, so we could do ministry together, so we could grow the church and do what we needed to do. We lost a lot of our income, about 60+% of our income, and so we had to restructure and change goals. We had to change our goal. We were going to buy. Watch that cord, baby. We were going to buy a different house, and then we go, you know what? We can't buy a new house, but we can fix up the house we have. And so we had to make those decisions because we had to be honest with each other. I was talking about how people are homeless and they have dogs.
I hope you didn't see my...
See what?
That's okay.
Why are you not allowed to wear sweatpants?
Okay.
It's our house. You can do whatever you want. But does that make sense? We talked about homeless people with dogs, and it's like you're trying to help them get on their feet, but then they're trying to carry a dog through it.
Man.
So they're not being honest with their finances.
Think about getting animals if you are like being honest about your financial situation. That's really a good point, because I know a lot of people, like for me, I probably would have an entire zoo of animals,
and
I would not be able to afford.
We'd be broke.
We would be so broke, but I would be that person that would like rescue every dog I can. I mean, I don't even really like cats that much, but I will rescue them and keep them. Like,
yeah, we can't do it. Like, number one, I can't. No way. And number two, financially, we just can't do it.
Yeah, you just can't. You have to be realistic about where you're at.
Here's some ways to be realistic. Number one, you should write these down. You should listen to these. Number one, do you have a budget? Do you actually have and budgets change? Your income changes. Your bills change. The gas bill's going to change. The electric bill's going to change. Your fuel expenses things are going to change. Oh, Christy's on, and
Christy's on. Okay, look at our mug, Christy. She got us
Christy
these.
just
They're
jumped
so
on, guys.
Cute. I love it.
Thank you for our gifts. We appreciate you guys, and so many people gift us, and we just want to tell you thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love it. We appreciate you. So Niki and I, when we were dating, we got real serious. We started talking about money. So when we would go, I started seeing her spending habits. She would go to Walmart every day to buy her lunch for the next day. I said, dude, it's so much cheaper if you plan for the full week. Create a system, create a structure. When we got married, we still had 2 separate accounts for a while. She'd pay half the grocery bill, I'd pay the other half. We'd split it right in half. So we learned what it was like, and then we married our finances, but we kept 3 accounts. We had 4 accounts. Yep. We had our checking account together, savings account together, and we had our own personal accounts. And basically, in a budget, the way you can do that is you give an allowance to each account. So here's your, say it's $25 or $50 a week. Here's your personal $50 a week. Do whatever you want with it. This is not our going out to eat money. This is not our take care of the house money.
Yeah.
This is not our bills money. This is your spend $50 however you want this week. Have fun with it. I do the same. Maybe I don't use it that week. Maybe I want a new Xbox. I save it for 4 weeks.
I think that's important to have that too. Because if you are all like, if you're like, okay, we're going to fix all these financial problems, but you still don't ever give time to have reward, then that can be very like discouraging. So you need to have like a little bit where you can it's just kind of like your free money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great point that every person should have that. Like, it don't have to be $50. It could be literally $10 a week.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever you're at, that's what you have to think.
But I think your point of being honest, I think Brandon just said, I definitely recommend the app every dollar. So you guys download the app every dollar. Pastor Brandon, if there's a share link on that, you could share it on here later. That'd be awesome. Michael said down in Sarasota, him and his wife Carla, we've run a business together. Difficult financial times are intense. Be realistic with each other. Sit down with each other and say, I'm overwhelmed. We have $5,000 in credit card debt, $10,000. Maybe you have a second mortgage.
Yeah.
Maybe you have school debt. Sit down. Stop running from each other. I've found out that there's been couples who one of them was paying a debt that the other didn't know about, and they were wondering why they were always broke. And they're like, oh, I have $100,000 in school loans.
That's actually one of the other points is like not hiding any debts or incomes from your spouse. Like, you guys are one person. You are one. You should there shouldn't be any hiding of finances, debts. I mean, it can be tricky though, like whenever a spouse maybe doesn't handle money the right way, that can be tricky. Mm-hmm. I don't really know, what would you say to that about not hiding, but like...
Well, here's the facts, guys. Whatever you hide, if you're hiding these financial weights, somebody's sinking while the other one's floating, and they're going to wonder, why aren't you up here with me? And you're hiding, you're stressed over it, you're angry about it, and honestly, financial struggles can be like hiding a heroin addiction. It's killing you. You don't want to do it, but you don't know how to stop spending. You don't know how to stop doing it. Yeah. So your spouse, a healthy spouse situation, they're not going to be ashamed of you. They're going to want to help you. You might need recovery. You might need like financial rehabilitation. There's next steps you need to take. That's why we offer financial life groups at our church, because we want people to be able to find true financial freedom. I love what Michael said. He said, you know what, when we're talking about it, first of all, we get grateful for what God has already given us. Then we evaluate what we really need, and we start cutting things out. That's huge. We need to cut some stuff out. But yeah, I think you need to stop hiding your financial struggles and your financial weights that you're currently in.
Yeah, and here comes another point that's going to be really good is don't approach the money subject in the heat of the moment. Like in the heat of it.
Don't approach any subject if you can avoid it in the heat of the moment.
So you want to set aside time. Like you want to set like, okay, hey guys, this Monday night we're going to have a date night where we just sit down and we're going to look at all of our finances together. So you set aside time so that way it's not threatening, because it can be such a touchy subject for each other, especially if you have someone who's like more of a spender versus more of a saver, which both of those things can be good things, but you have to balance those. So you have to set aside time where you can talk about issues not in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and honestly, we talk about all the time going and getting marriage counseling. We highly believe in marriage counseling. One of the other counselings you can get is financial counseling. So like, say you have a $3,000 credit card that you've had for a year or two, it's accruing interest every single month. Now, say your spouse has another card over here, you could go to a bank and say, hey, do you guys have a zero interest balance transfer opportunity, 12-month, 24-month transfer that we can do? And now you can consolidate those cards and make one payment and knock those out, because if you're accruing interest in multiple areas, if you can consolidate all of that and get it knocked out and paid out, now you're winning. And that's a massive goal. Now, Dave Ramsey offers a lot of wisdom on financial wisdom. Crown Financial offers a lot of wisdom. Do Well is a financial life group we do, as well as the worst financial mistakes made in the Bible and how to avoid them. Great book. So these are things that you can do, and it's highly important and imperative that you get ahead of these things before they get ahead of you, because small holes sink big ships, and financial debts can sink great marriages.
And to go on to this topic of having that time where you sit down and talk in a non-threatening environment is, we talked about saving tithing, but also when creating an actual budget
Yeah.
for all of your expenses. So that means writing down all your debts, writing down all your incomes, and then writing down all of your expenses you like have on a weekly, daily basis, and looking at them for the month.
Writing down all the things you want. Writing down all the vacations you want to take,
And
because
then
you
say,
should
hey,
be planning for those.
Yeah, and like, so if you have you need a grocery budget, and you can say, hey, we're gonna have this much aside every month for groceries, and then you don't go over that. You stay within that budget.
Well, and then I'm thinking, like, how many times do you talk to people that they go, hey, when's the last time you took a vacation together? They say, oh, never. And what do they always say? We don't have enough money. You do. You do have enough money. It was in that coffee that you bought every single day. It was in those new shoes that you bought every other week. It was in that new bag you bought, that jacket.
You want a vacation, right?
Well, no, you need it. You need it. You need a 7, 7, and 7.
You need it.
You need a 7-day getaway, date night, whatever.
You're gonna
you need
be
a
so
7
much
month.
more happier and like lighter when you just take time away. You gotta take a break every now and then.
Yep. Yeah. So Rachel said something so true. Adulting for teen life skills would be great. Life groups for cooking, changing attire, taxes, etc. I think a lot of that that I love at our church comes through mentorship, comes through people adopting young people, teaching them. I think it starts with fathers and mothers at home teaching your kids how to do this stuff. We have to get involved. And here's something that I think I'm so glad Rachel said that. Parents, it's the reason we wanted to talk about money right now, because it's Christmas time and everybody's thinking about money. I really wish this. I really wish that my mom, my stepdad, would have sat down with me when I was younger, and I had a list. We always say, kids, what do you want for Christmas? Your kids don't understand what that means. I wish my mom would have said, hey, you wrote down 10 things. Instead of saying, you only get X amount, saying, hey, let me show you how a budget works. This is our life. Now we can have rent, we can have home, we can have our savings account, our retirement account, we can have our groceries, we can have food, and Christmas. Or we can just have Christmas. Now, question, out of all these 10 things, the budget allows X amount for each child, for each one of you, or you can give a little more of your budget to your brother and sister. Now you're teaching generosity, teaching reality. Which 2 gifts, which 3 gifts would you want? Because we want to bless you for Christmas, because Christmas is not about Santa, which I don't care if you teach your kids about Santa, but it's about giving. It's about generosity. It's about God so loved the world, he gave his son, and he gave us a gift. And we show that and share that in the spirit of Christmas, which was the truth of who St. Nicholas was, about a generous heart. We show that by giving. And in doing so, you teach your kids reality. You teach them that you don't just, gifts don't just magically appear. They had to be paid for. They had to be worked for. They had to be earned. And how much more do you appreciate your parents? Because honestly, if I think Santa Claus is making my Xbox, then what's there to be grateful for?
Yeah.
But when I realized, wow, we had to pay for that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think that it starts at home, is teaching your kids that Christmas doesn't magically happen. It happens with the magic of giving and generosity.
Yeah. We're gonna give you one more thing. There's tons more things that we could probably talk about.
You can Google the crap out of this. There's a website called The Balance. I love it. There's
so many resources.
Financial advice married couples may not want to hear.
Yeah.
Can I just read these off real quick and we won't go into them?
You have to be really fast.
Yeah. Create separate accounts, one joint account. Track how you're spending your money. Set financial priorities together. Discuss finances together as a regular basis. Save 10% of your income. We already said that. Handle debt as a couple. Try to live a debt-free life. That's huge. Write that down. Try to live a debt-free life. Don't keep big financial secrets. And face them together. So a lot of
there's
stuff
so many
we're talking
resources, so many things that you can do. If you are in a financial crisis right now and you need help, there are resources available for you to help you. But at our church, we also do life groups. I mean, there's so many things that could help you. But we're going to give you just one more thing, and then we're going to jump off here. But the last thing will be just to setting short-term goals, but set long-term goals as well. You have to have goals in mind when it comes to finances. So even if it's like, so maybe you don't have a savings right now and you want to start a savings, then you say our first savings goal is going to be $1,000.
Our first savings goal is to get a savings account.
Yeah. Or maybe, so let's say maybe you've been saving and you're like, okay, my next savings goal is, it can be whatever number is for you guys, but you have to talk about it. You have to have a certain goal in mind with each other.
One of the first questions we asked whenever I taught our financial life group was, what number in your head is a number of peace? What financial number in your bank account? Like, if you were to open up your bank account today and go,
see that number.
Wow, I feel safe. Technically speaking, financial counselors say you should have 6 months of rent.
6 months,
or is it 6
3
months?
to 6 months of your monthly expenses in a savings account.
That's what it is.
That's what an emergency fund is. 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. So that means you have to sit down and talk about what your monthly expenses are. That's that budget thing we were talking about. And then that could be your first savings goal is like, okay, 3 months of all this money or 6 months of all this money. And then you don't touch that in case something, like if somebody loses a job or a crisis comes up, a medical thing comes up and you need to take time away from work, you're not worried because you know you have that 3 to 6 months of a backup for yourself.
Yeah. And Rachel goes as far as say 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months, yeah.
Which I agree. I mean, honestly, think about it.
I think at least 6 months.
If you walk into work today and they say, hey, we're shutting down, most people are shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they go insane is because they didn't save.
Yeah.
They didn't have a pad. They didn't have a pillow to land on. So you're creating comfort for your family when you have savings in your account.
Yeah.
So that's huge. So what's your quick savings? What's your short-term savings? What's your long-term savings? Do you have a life insurance account set up? Do you have retirement account? I don't know if Nikki and I will ever technically retire, but I do know that I don't want to have to worry about how much money we're making at some point. So for me, I'd like to have $5 million set up in a retirement account. You know, why not?
Yeah.
I want to be able to stay generous the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my impact financially to cease because I don't have a job anymore.
Right.
It's crazy. So what's your goals, y'all?
What is your goal?
What
are your goals?
Number one, are you tithing? Do you trust God with your money?
Mm-hmm.
Don't say you trust God with money and not be a tither. People said, oh, I give an offering. You didn't give an offering if you're not tithing. Because the offering happens after you're tithing. Number two, what are you saving for yourself? Number three, are you hiding financial debt? Are you hiding financial burdens? Are you using your credit cards to mask your financial situation? That's such a big problem. Are you facing your debt together? And then do you have short-term, medium time, and long-term savings goals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And setting, and not bringing up the topic in a bad moment. Like, just because you get a bill and you're frustrated.
Yeah, and don't be like, oh, my spouse did this. You married your spouse. Yeah. You married the person that you're married to. Remember that. And maybe their problem is finances and your problem is X, Y, or Z. I know one thing we did just to save money, just to throw it out there, was we quit going out to eat as much. We started cooking.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, there's so many little things you can do.
Yeah, Brenda said they don't teach their kids about Santa, and the kids are still excited, and they're so much more thankful.
Yeah.
You know, I don't got a problem with Saint Nick, the history and story of him, but things don't just magically appear under your tree. You know, God will magically, the word tadal means, look what God did, in its original language, but God will magically bless you. He does things magically. He's a wonderful God. He will make things happen for you, but Santa Claus doesn't do it. Parable of the sower. The better you do with the little that God has given you with, the more He's going to give you, regardless of how much or how little you have. You have to be a sower. If you're not sowing, you're not growing. God has given you wealth. Use it for goodness and for godliness, and He will give you more. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we love you guys. I hope this helps you.
Let us know if this was helpful at all. And if there's any topics that you guys want us to talk about, all you got to do is email us at mmoat@ghow.net, and we will talk about whatever you want to talk about. And in the future, we want to have people come on, different people. It's been a crazy time of the year, so haven't been able to do that much yet, but we will.
We're working on it. Well, we wanted to get the house put together so we can make a studio in here for people. You know, I wanted you guys to know this. You know, Jesus talked about money more than he talked about heaven or hell. And I honestly, I think because a lot of people are living in hell, in this world, living a life of hell because they just don't handle their finances well. Finances reveal your heart. Money reveals your heart. Money reveals if you love things or if you love people. Money reveals if you love God or if you love money.
Yeah.
Money reveals if you love yourself or you love others. Money is a massive, massive thermostat of your heart. And so I challenge you, if you're, and here's what I was going to tell people even this. I got an email from Easy Tie that said, ask people in your church to download, even not in your church, just friends, download Easy Tie app, look up Generations House of Worship, zip code 15014, and just say, you know what, I'm going to start being more generous and give $5 a week on top of wherever you're giving, whatever you're giving. And I was like, wow, that really makes sense. Like, I can go to all my family and say, hey, would you support me with a cup of coffee a week by just giving $5 to our church? Like, there's little things you can do to just start pushing that generosity in your life. Find a nonprofit, an organization, a church that you love. Start giving. Get your mind off of money. Stop talking about all the gifts you need for Christmas and go find a family that might need gifts, because it gets your mind off of money, gets your heart into faith and trust. So that's the spirit of giving.
Yeah,
Liz said, what did Liz say real quick before I had life insurance since 2011. I called them to let them know I need to cancel due to financial troubles. They got me down to only paying $11 a month.
Yeah.
A call can help. That's so good. Call your credit card company.
Yeah, I hope nobody's feeling discouraged or like defeated. And if you are in any way,
can I please be transparent about that?
Yeah.
When Niki and I got married, right before we got married, I had a 750 credit score. I ended up losing a job, and I didn't have money in savings because I was making so much money. I thought I'd keep making it, and I would just spend it all the time, but I always paid my bills off because I was making a crap ton of money. Well, I went from making a crap ton of money to making no money. Lost my car. They repoed it. Came to repo my bike. Credit card debts. I had to freeze my credit card accounts. My credit score went down to 340. When Niki and I were dating, I told her, my credit score is 340. I have debts. I have to pay the IRS. I have this. I have that. And I was paying it all off while we were getting married. When we got married, all that stuff was paid off. My credit score was at like 450, and now it's almost 800, which I'm grateful for. But we worked through that together. There's no shame. There's no condemnation. Don't beat yourself up. We're not telling this to beat you up. We're telling this to get you out, right?
Yeah, we want to help. And there's help available for you out there. So don't be discouraged. Start making better decisions today.
Yep, start today. Everyone hashtag
start today.
Hashtag start today. Yeah. So let us pray for you guys. If you have any questions, you have comments, if you hate us, whatever. If you love us, whatever. It doesn't change the truth, man. Here's the truth. That's what the Bible says. Share this. Comment. Let people know you're watching. And we love you guys. If you want a Marriage Monday on a Tuesday shirt, go to my website, pastornick.net. Click on the Marriage Monday on a Tuesday. You can order a shirt. For, I don't know, $20, $25, whatever they are on there. But we're going to pray for you. You want to pray for me? You want me to pray? Go ahead.
God, thank you for this time that we've had together to be able to share just different bits of wisdom on finances. We just pray that we would be better stewards of our money together, that we would handle our money in a godly way. And if we have problems right now, that we wouldn't be ashamed to get help, that we would reach out, that we would find someone that can help us, or talk to our spouse about the things that are bothering us. Yes. Bring everything to the table to be honest and real, so that way we can grow and flourish in our marriage in every single way. We just ask that you would be with every person watching this week. They would have the most amazing week. They would be closer to you in every way.
Yes, Lord. And
we love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You know, one last thought is, how do you eat a cow? One bite at a time.
I don't eat cow.
I know, you're a vegetarian. But I'm just saying, how do you eat a whole cow? You do it one bite at a time. How do you eat your finances? One bite at a time. How do you eat your debt? One bite at a time. Don't give up. Make the call. Call your credit card company. Call your life insurance company. Call your bank. Call your whoever owns the mortgage on your home.
Get some head.
Have the conversation where you're not
Yeah.
talking about it; it's being talked about. So put the words to the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, we love you guys.
All right, thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a great week.